Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the first ArchiFrame webinar of 2026. Hope you had a good time off over the holiday. So lovely to see so many of you here. And for those who are watching us on catch up and recording, welcome as well. It's a really action-packed session today. I've got Alex Belov here from Ironwood Modular Solutions, and he's going to be talking today about Archicad data management, a very, very important topic. And when we're looking at sort of data architecture, and we've got lots to cover today, so I'm not going to do too much here in the preamble. We also have Petteri here as well, our CEO, and he's also available to ask questions. And it's going to be an interactive session as always. So please do ask questions, feel free. I will be interrupting Alex during the presentation, and then we'll also have time for questions at the end. You can ask the questions through Q&A. You can use chat. At the end, you can also unmute yourselves and we can have a conversation. But obviously, do please be aware that this is all being recorded and it will go on YouTube. So just be sensitive in terms of what you're sharing. So yeah, I'll be monitoring chat. I'll be monitoring Q&A. And if anyone's got any problems, do let me know. My name is Kaylee. Welcome. And I'm going to pass it over to Alex.
Thank you. Thank you, Kayla. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I hope you can see my screen. So just a short introduction. I'm Alex Belov, certified BIM manager, Microsoft BIM manager, and I'm barely familiar with Archicad. It's only been my main tool for the last 25 years. Oh, I'm so old. Since Archicad 17, I've been localizing the Russian version of Archicad, meaning that I have to understand every single function and feature in each new release, well enough to translate it and explain in the user guide. That time, so 13 years ago, I moved to Hungary. I live in Szeged, Hungary. And on the top of that, also, for the past few years, I've been also working on official Graphisoft Learn courses, localizing them for the US market and helping develop new ones. Also, I'm working for the Canadian company. You can see on the screen some small description of this company, Ironwood. So we are headquartered in Woodstock, New Brunswick, Canada, and our primary business it's modular solutions. So here right now, this webinar is much more about information. I believe that for a long time, for years, ArchiFrame was always a wonderful tool that can work perfectly with geometry. And this is really something outstanding. There are a lot of things that Archicad cannot do at all. But unfortunately, in the past, from my point of perspective, the information management wasn't very strong. Or strong enough in ArchiFrame. And for the last year, Petteri provided a few solutions, very, very important solutions, again, from my perspective. And the things that he made, it's something really outstanding and wonderful because of course, you can use Archicad properties, and we will talk about Archicad properties. You can use Archicad classifications. We will talk about classifications as well, of course. Just still, there are some workarounds. We need some workarounds because in Archicad, for example, you cannot access library part parameters in your properties except for very common ones like, I don't know, door width, door height, and so on. But if you have your own custom objects, you can, and definitely ArchiFrame planks or boards, they are custom objects, so you cannot access them. Also, another weakness of Archicad that Archicad doesn't support, let's say, logic of parents. Of course, you have hierarchical elements like curtain wall, like railing tool, like stair tool, but that's it. Meaning that you cannot break down your project, your model into the parts. Of course, there are layers, there are some other things, but very often you have to work around. Plus, another problem that if you use expressions in your properties, and very often we use expressions, expression works for every element. So meaning that Archicad interacts this expression and estimates that, analyze the element and gives you the result for every single element, meaning that again, you don't have any parent of an element. Okay, so let's take a look. What do we have in our project? We have a house. And since these projects, since we are working on modular solutions, meaning that we build in a shop boxes and then we just deliver these boxes. Basically, we have three types, three kinds of our projects. These all are live projects. This project has been finished like maybe a couple of weeks ago. So this is the most popular model of house called Vista. About 80% of our mini homes, they are Vistas. So that's just the name of the model. Again, we can have mini homes and we can have modular homes. Mini home, meaning that actually it consists of only one box. So we just built this house in the shop, and then we just bring this house to the site, and just crane takes it and put on the foundation. That's it. Usually these homes, they are 16 feet wide. It's about 5 meters, a bit under 5 meters, and up to 75 feet long. So it gives us 24, 25 meters or so on. The next type of house is a modular, single floor modular, and actually that's this home. It's a modular home, and we will use this model during our presentation. So it consists of two boxes, and can even, in our experience, it was a house, a real monster that contained 6 boxes, 6 modules. Models there also up to 16 feet wide, and the length it's 30, 40 feet or something like that. So it's about 15 meters. Plus, of course, we are limited with height because, you know, on the roads, unfortunately, you also have some bridges and so on. So our height it's about three and a half meters, depending on, because if we have to deliver our homes to other provinces, like for example this house that you can see right now, it's a multi-story dwelling, and it's for Ontario, Ottawa. So meaning that you have to bring all these modules. Just for a second, back to our slide. Next, module. What does it mean, module? As I told you before, it's a box, meaning that you have to break down, you have to split your house into these modules, into these boxes. Then we will have a frame. You know, everyone, of course, since you are working with ArchiFrame, we have ArchiFrame elements, parent elements. These are wall panels, floor frames, ceiling frames, strapping, whatever. For us, that's all. And we have members. So each frame consists of planks, which are studs, king studs, jack studs, cripples, top cripples, bottom cripples, top plates, bottom plates. You know it very well. So what's really important to me, since we're working not on site, we're using CNC, we have our framing table, meaning that our guys in the shop, they have to know, they have to get some information. What do I need from every member of a house? I have 3 questions that must be answered. Who are you? Where are you? What are you doing here? So it's a wall member, it's a floor member. Where are you? In this panel, in those panel, it's on the second floor, on the first floor, and what are you doing here? Again, it's a stud, it's a cripple, because we need different representation, we need different labels, and ID assignment. And to achieve this, we use so-called full mode ID. We have to display, we have to manage all our elements. For example, if one team works on one box, another team works on another box, so they can go simultaneously. This way we can produce, for example, Vista. The fastest Vista production, it took about 10 days from the beginning to just moving away this house from the shop. And meaning that this Vista, this mini home, it comes to site already with siding, with pre-installed kitchen cabinets, with plumbing fixtures, with everything, with lights. So 10 days. In 10 days, we have a house. Cool. And what to do, how to assign this information. Of course, we have layers, and that time we were using layers. It was really terrible because you can imagine, even if you have only 2 boxes, you already need double number of layers for management, because you have stats for model A, you have stats for model B, and so on. So we found another solution, and our solution is design options. For example, this wall, it has an ID EW02. This wall has an ID EW03, exterior wall. This wall is also EW2, and this one EW02. So all of these, they have the same IDs. So how can we distinguish them, and how can we get information? Here we are coming to our global mode, full mode ID. This expression, it takes model character, so it just cuts first 3 characters and assigns a character, a letter A or B, and it takes story number. So that's why this wall B3, it belongs to model B, that which is on the 3rd floor. This wall is B2, definitely. This one is A3, I guess. Correct, A3. Of course, you can ask question what to do if you are using not the US version, because story numbers, they are hard-coded. In US version, or for example Russian version, it will be the first floor will have a first number 1. There is no ground floor. In the international version, in the British version, in Hungarian version, it starts from 0, not a problem. You can always set your properties to add just 1. So 0 plus 1 will be 1, 1 plus 1 will be 2, and so forth. And here, first example of properties, as I told, we have full mode ID. So how does it work? Right now, we have only one property for every type of house. If this model, if design option contains garage, then it assigns GR. If it's basement, it assigns BS. If it's strip loose, For example, in this house, we have these parapet walls as a shapeless, of course, stairs are shapeless, some exterior elements also shapeless. We will go closer to that a bit later. And if it contains, if it's not these three, so basement, shapeless, and then it takes mod. As I told you, it cuts first 4 characters, MOD and space, and takes a character. Okay. So, meaning that for our wall here, we have an element ID. The problem of element ID I will discuss a bit later. And we have here this special element full ID. It's B3EW03, meaning that it takes our full mode ID. I just explained to you how it assigns. Then it adds a dash and it adds an element ID. Great.
We just had a quick question or clarification about, can you show the single module in Archicad as it is built in the factory, hiding everything else?
Sure, of course.
That's going to be cool.
And of course, just if you want, I can, of course, assign additionally. Okay, not a problem. Give me a sec. View elements in 3D view, filter and cut elements. Here we can use a range. For example, first to first. Bam.
Wow.
Just please keep in mind that here this box, it looks quite strange for every architect. Just we've got this project when it was already designed, and this is not a finished project, it's a live project, and it looks quite strange because here we have a party wall. That's why we have to split these two elements. Party wall, it's sound rated and fire rated wall, so you should have two different frames, but at the same time we have to deliver it as a single module. So it's a very complicated story, and that's why later we will talk about different project, not this one. But as you can see, yes, you can do that very easily. Let me just go back to architecture. Okay, here we have our elements. And just later in the summary section, you will see how exactly it works. So for our walls, we just need our favorites and we need design options, nothing else, because in favorites, we have already our categories. Here, categories are not very important. I still believe that it's important because for me, if you will ask me what's more important, let's say a new feature in Archicad to develop a new level of IFC properties or to add another option to have much more nice posts in railings, definitely IFC options. So here comes batteries magic, because in our ArchiFrame palette, when we start to create any frame based on element, it can read element ID, element categories, and element properties. You can find this information documentation. It was our request to make more flexible, to prepare more flexible script for that, and it works. So let's just leave this project aside because it doesn't contain right now any ArchiFrame elements. Again, it's ongoing. Just I wanted to show you how this structure works in case of Archicad elements, Archicad model. So the most important our project here. Let's just get rid. Let's get rid of our landscape. We don't need that. And again, as I told you before, here we have wall EW02, and since it's module B, it will be a special element ID. It will be B1 EW02. This one will be definitely EW01, B1 EW01. Okay, this brings us to parent, so-called parent element ID. Let me switch to ArchiFrame elements. I believe that no need to explain to you how to create ArchiFrame elements. Everyone knows that. So we have this element created based on Archicad wall. And here, when we create this element, we have, you know, of course, this assign IDs button or give IDs button. And it reads already the parent Archicad element, because I prefer to use parent element not for Archicad elements but for ArchiFrame elements. And here we have a script. This script has been created by Petri. This is something really magic, really important thing. It reads our wall information, and moreover, if, for example, I will change this wall ID, let's say that it's 11, and if I will just select our ArchiFrame element here, give IDs, we can see that it's already updated, and this way everything inside this wall will be updated. You will see it a bit later. Again, going back to our properties, because actually right here we have a very serious problem. Let's try to think, not to think, to show. Just a sec. Or it's a bit complex project. So we have our elements, components, and my point, as I told you before, to have information for every component. And this information should be very, very, very flexible, meaning that it should be updated immediately if I have any changes. And here's the problem. As I told you before, Archicad expressions work for every element, meaning that if I have my wall EW01, it's an element ID. And for start, I also need an element ID. And this element ID should be unique, because we have to send it to CNC, and that's the basic. It's a basic rule for CNC management, meaning that you cannot assign 2 times element ID, because again, in Archicad doesn't support this parent ID assignments or spatial elements assignments. That sucks. But we have what we have. And here, what's really important, when batteries script works, it assigns these give IDs, it reads depending on the situation, because I told you that in mini homes we have only one model, in modular homes we have more than one model. It reads full mod ID. This is A1, B2, F3, and so on, and adds the second part, which is our element ID, EW01, EW02. So everything what you have to do, you have to type manually. Unfortunately, yes, you have to type manually this Archicad wall element ID. Then comes to the play the script. Okay, but how can I get this information for my element as an element ID? Properties. In our properties, we have so-called parent frame ID. How does it work? Again, mini home, it's only one model. I don't need a full mod ID for mini homes, but I need full mod IDs for modular homes. It checks If style of house is mini, it's project info. So we just type mini in our template. Then it takes first 4 characters. If it contains dash, because again, our dash, it's A1 dash, and then comes element ID. And take a look. First for mini. In mini, we don't have this part. So it takes EW01 and assigns as a parent element ID to each stud, to each cripple, to each bottom plate, top plate, and so on. If it contains dash here in element ID, then it takes first 7 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And assigns as a parent. This way, my stud, my any element, or for example, for kitchen blockings, I have to put some blockings in kitchen here behind this. Here we have some share blockings in other frame. Just a second, we don't need it right now. So here, for example, these reinforcement blockings. Here, these are kitchen cabinet blockings because we have to screw our kitchen cabinets to every block, and so on and so far. For our baseboard heaters, we need blockings. And these blockings, again, they know where they are. They are in our ArchiFrame element. And this element is EW02. Do you remember I updated our wall to EW11. It was here. Just, I didn't refresh yet. It was B, not A1, it was B. Sorry. Here. Every element has got a new ID. I have to do nothing here. Moreover, before we moved to a new property, new facility, we were limited by our wall panels up to 16 feet, meaning that my wall, this long exterior wall, it has to be split by 16 feet. That's why we had more than one panel inside one long panel. And we still have this option, but we don't use it anymore. Right now, we can just assign like bottom plate 01, 02, 03, and so on, and so far. But you still have this option just to assign a different element ID, and then you can just have still have your special like EW0. 10203, they are all inside one ArchiFrame element. It's still possible. Just again, right now we recognize that as already obsoleted function for us, but it was important. Okay, next, how to get, as I told you, we have this parent element ID, but also we can have non-framed elements. The best examples, let's just jump to our structures. You see. So, raw fascia, weather blocking, some other elements, they do not, second top plate. Second top plate is not a part of my wall. It's a non-framed element because first we put our elements, then we boom, 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 place around on the top, second top plate, so non-framed elements. That's why we have so-called full structural member ID. This full structural member ID just checks for different properties: framed member ID, non-framed member ID, Non-framed member ID, it's framed member ID, non-framed member ID I already explained, raw fascia or second template. Non-framed member ID, no frame display. A good example, again, this house with only two models. I don't have, I have only one wall frame, floor frame. So, and I have to just save my space, my room, because I don't have much room for my joists in the drawings. I don't need to display my model. In this case, I can just display without model, so just very simple trick with the properties. And header beam component ID. Next week, we are starting with Peter a new project that will allow us to automatically populate our headers with lumber components, plywood components, because we have a composite headers, meaning that actually it's a frame inside the frame. You have a wall. Wall, it's a complex element. It contains a lot of members. Inside that, we have our header. And this header, it's also a complex element that should contain more elements on other level. But on the same time, I want to know that this lumber component goes to this header, and this header goes to that wall, meaning that it's a bit more complex. Okay, here, for example, you can see these headers. I left it by some reason. These elements, I will show you how it works a bit later. And of course, to manage our elements, we have really extensive information. Like you can see these, our list of materials for walls, for roofs. Moreover, we are working with not only in Canada, sometimes we are still working with the main state. And it requires different plywood thickness. It requires some other different materials, meaning that we need really serious list. That's why, guys, if you will join me to back battery to finally create for us at least foldable, unfoldable lists for folders, be my guest. I already love you because it's our request for a long time. It's really difficult. But why do we have so serious lists? Because actually we are using our ArchiFrame block changes XML not only as on a very primitive level that only contains geometry, max length, and so on. No, here you have properties, and just in a second I will show you we have our own classification system because I'm not satisfied with Archicad classification system. It has been added to Archicad just as an example, but you have to use some of norm or wherever, or you can create your own. We have our own. Plus, it manages a lot of things that come from your Planck library part object. So, for example, in instructs to show or to don't show lines, this X symbol, because here you can see it's a top cripple, meaning that I don't want to see this cross-section lines in the floor plan, and also it defines drawing index, meaning that when you have created your top projections, they won't be by accident hidden by top plates that are also displayed. You can set this. It, of course, assigns layer, and as I told you, it assigns classification. Plus, it assigns textual property. Also, it was a really wonderful development from Petri because, for example, we have our lumber 2x4, 2x6, 2x10, but it's not 2x4, it's not 2x6. The nominal sizes and the real sizes, the 1.5 inch by 3.5 inch, it's 2x4, or 1.5 inch by 9.25 inch, it's 2x10, and so on and so forth. So it just assigns this cross section. This way we can very easily sort information for our CNC when we send our job to CNC. Okay. So again, it's much more complex. It takes time to set these elements, but this way I can get immediately frames that I need. And Now you will see. So I told you about this full global, full structural member ID. And you can ask a question. Let's check it here. If you are still following me, you can ask the question, why do I need full structural member ID if actually I've got this full mod structural member ID based on element ID assigned by Archicad, by ArchiFrame? It's a kind of reverse engineering, because yes, the first part that I have, it's a parent ID, parent frame ID. Yes, it takes the information from element, but also we have the second part, which is for this stud, it's std01. And this std01 ArchiFrame assigns automatically based on our classification. As I told you, we have our own special classification. If we will go to classification manager, you can see that here we have our special elements. We have our wood frames. For wood frames, we have a description for every type of element, like wall cabinet blocking, wall shear blocking, mast blocking. For floor frames, we have floor inner rings, floor outer rings, floor joists, blah, 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 blah. So a lot of things we have to assign. And for example, ArchiFrame right now cannot work, or already can work. Actually, I don't care at this moment with cripples. It assigns cripples as a start, just of different element ID or different length. And what will happen here? If, for example, so by default, when I will create this wall, it won't be cripple, it will be stud. And so I will just create for you the situation what I get when I have created these drawings. Here it will be a stud. Ba-bam! These elements became red, so they are studs. And you can see here that it displays stud. But it's not stud, it should be cripple, because I want to have it as a cripple, because cripple, again, has a different settings for call lines, it has different settings, even it can be produced out of different lumber, maybe it can be used not premier lumber, but different. And in this scenario, it became red. Why? Because we have one more property that called member ID checker. It's a very primitive property. It just compares two fields. This field, ID, that has been assigned by ArchiFrame, and full structural member ID. And you can see they are not the same. Here I have the parent frame. Yes, it's still the same. It's B1 EW11, but here it's TCR, top cripple. Here's STD. Meaning that if I see this red, everything what I have to do, I just have to press the update button. ArchiFrame will reassign information based on parent frame IDs, and that's it. Now it's stud. So right now I just show you how it comes to me from the beginning. Originally, it comes as a stud. And when I see these studs, I just have to select them using find select, or here manually. I prefer manually because it gives me some time to think. And here I have to just assign this top cripple and update. And that's it. Plus, this works not only for our framed elements, but also for non-framed elements, elements that don't have any assignment. Just let me go back to our QC. We have it here. I left these elements red for you. So it's a raw fascia, and this raw fascia, you can see it doesn't contain any element ID. But since it's raw fascia, the classification is raw fascia, we have full structural member ID, which is SL ship loose, it's modular, and you can see here it's ship loose RFC 06. But in element ID, I have nothing. Again, just update button. And red color will disappear because ArchiFrame will analyze this element and will assign information I need. Just again, right now.
We had a request as well on the Q&A about being able to see the engineering bill of materials. So like the output of what will come out of Archicad and ArchiFrame.
Yeah. So just right now, it takes some time because looks like just the overall performance.
Yeah.
I have 3 Archicads plus broadcaster. Okay, anyway, just you can see that, for example, here we have these blockings, and before starting the presentation, looks like my Archicad just has got frozen. So here we have a wood, here we have a red, just because as a test I checked that. No, now it worked. Again, just. Oh, sorry. My bad. Yeah, since it's not a part of frame, I have to use not update here now. First, I have to give IDs. That's why ArchiFrame cannot understand what do I want. So here, just when it will be unfrozen, I'll have to just to click this Give IDs button and just assign IDs and then update. Just we're getting closer to 141 already, so we'll still have a questions section. Okay. Then just maybe it's a good idea now to jump to summary, that because Archicad still works. Again, the summary. As I told you before, first, Archicad level. We have our wall. For this wall, we use two things. We use favorites that assign categories and classifications. We use design options, and we assign element ID manually. Then it transfers to ArchiFrame element, wall element, or floor element, or ceiling element, doesn't matter. And here we assign this element ID, and we have this renumbering script. This gives us the information. And then we have our members, our components. Here we use our plan time. This way we can reassign and get information about element ID and full structural member ID, which should be the same. And of course, it contains the full information, A1 as a module, parent frame ID, and so on. So every element knows exactly its position, its place. Here, maybe I'll have to just to show this slide. So again, what's exactly I told you right now. Element ID here is A1, AW01, STD01, and here element ID, which is actually full structural member element ID, STD01, it's analyzed by expression. So parent frame ID, the first part, then frame member ID, which is this part, and then member ID checker. It just compares element ID, full structural member ID. If it's 0, meaning that they are equal, it's correct. Otherwise, it's error. If it's correct, it has its own surface. If it's error, it gets red surface. Do we have unfrozen Archicad? Yes, we do. Wow. Okay, the last attempt. Now I will be smart. Okay. That's it. And now if I will press update, so just right now it's RFC01, it will get also RFC01, just probably Archicad will also need some time, but you can see it works. It will be 01 and 01 everywhere. Or if we have more selected raw fascia, then of course it will compare their lengths and will assign these last numbers, which are member ID, based on their lengths. Of course, these development, it took some time. It required some additional investments because it's something very special that Petri made for us. And I really love this man because he's a magician. He creates wonderful solutions. And in case if you really want to automate your production, if you want to get more information, maybe it's a good idea for you to turn to Petri to ask to tailor some solutions for your company. So, for example, I will not share this template or this classification because it won't work for you. It will work for us as a for company because it pays attention to our needs. Your company will need different, will have different requirements and need different information. But based on that, I'm pretty sure that Petri can provide you with very serious information. Also, it will give you really correct schedules and so on. Like, for example, of course, we have our schedules for strappings. It's not here. In schedules. So, for example, for our floors, we have detailed schedules for our floor blockings by modules, or we can have total information. Of course, the total information doesn't contain real lengths, but because of optimization, you know, this is a so-called bin package algorithm. Archicad doesn't support that. ArchiFrame doesn't need that because actually this information can be provided, and this job has been done, can be done by Cambium or in Hondeger or other software. So it called some trim optimization. So how much wood do you exactly need? Not exactly, but really need in stock to produce this number of lumber pieces. Okay, maybe it's a good idea to ask Petri to connect and to maybe add some his 5 cents.
Yeah, Petteri, would you like to add anything? I know you need to leave a little early, so jump in now. And then I've also got some other questions as well to go through. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, thank you, Alex. It has been a pleasure working with you, adding these new features like maintaining the properties, the building options. Well, for example, what we didn't have 1 year ago, when you cut one plank into 2 pieces, the new part didn't inherit these properties, building options, classifications, categories. That was something we added with this project we did for for Alex and Ironwood. And also, yeah, thank you for your patience for using the buggy beta version. So now it has been version by version, it has become better and better. And I'd say, I think now we have a pretty good package what comes to maintaining this information, Archicad classification properties, and so on. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I posted one question to the Q&A. Maybe you can see it from there. And yeah, I have a demonstration coming, so I need to prepare a bit for that. So thank you again, Alex, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you, Petteri.
Thank you. Actually, it's my pleasure to be a part of, ArchiFrame inspired team.
Yeah, we have had nice times here together. 3-4 of us were working with ArchiFrame, making it better and also healing the world in between.
We can discuss it next time. I will come to Helsinki. Yeah.
We'll continue with some questions then. Thanks very much, Petteri. And obviously, you know, you can always email Petteri directly at petteri@archiframe.fi, or you can email me as well directly, Kaylee@archiframe.fi, if you do have any questions. We have a couple of minutes still left. Thank you so much, Alex, for your generosity and for your time. Let's try to just wrap up a couple of these. So there was a question about the one that Petteri referenced, which was the other benefits. So are there any other benefits for classifying wall framing parts to studs, cripples, etc., in addition to being able to use cheaper raw material for non-load bearing parts? Like, do you use classification to run production, packaging? That was his question. So sort of like, what are some of the further ramifications of this system that you use?
Yes, of course, because actually this classification system, it's really important, for example, again, to manage your stock lumber, because, you know, for our headers, we have to use premium lumber, but for joists, we don't need that. Also, only using this classification, you can very fast find and select the elements. You can include them into your schedules and so on. We don't use cut lists at the moment. We're not ready for that, but we do use a lot of schedules, and these schedules are all of them, they're based on classifications. Plus, what's important, we use our own classifications for our own custom objects, because we have we have a lot of our custom library parts. I'm not satisfied with the Archicad doors. I'm not satisfied with Archicad windows. I'm not satisfied with Archicad plumbing fixtures, default elements, because we need much more precise MEP information and so on. So far, that's why actually it comes into the system. So we have the classification system that manages and runs the full project. And right now, ArchiFrame is ideally just took its own place inside the whole information management system. Without classification, it's impossible. But keep in mind, another important thing, keep in mind that classification, it's a crucial thing to define the properties availability, because Archicad assigns properties, and you can see that for us properties is almost everything, but it assigns properties based on classification. For example, your stud will have some properties that you don't need for your joists.
Yeah. We had also some other questions. I mean, the bill of materials, I don't know if we have time to quickly go into that at all, but also just the process of tailoring. So, you know, working with Petteri, I mean, this was a very collaborative approach as well, wasn't it? You know, you visited, you made some requests, and it sort of deepened from there. But anything you can add to that? And actually, someone was also asking for your contact details. So maybe at the end, you can let people know where you can be contacted over email, etc. Because I think some people might have some specific questions, because like you very well highlighted, this is all very tailored to, you know, the Ironwood modular solution situation. So yeah, anything you can add on that would be great.
I got it. So actually, yes, I will be happy to help you, because you know, there are, of course, you have a lot of questions, and you know, sometimes it's you know, it takes time to analyze and to work with properties, and again, the properties, that's why I told you that I will not share our properties with you. I can show how does it work. I can explain to you the mechanism, but first of course, it's our know-how, and that's first. And the second, that it just won't work for you. You need your own properties. I will be happy to help you with that. I have, again, some experience with properties, with library parts, development. Just a very quick explanation, just a very quick example. For example, we have our own pocket doors that work properly, and they define your core. thickness that Archicad doors do not, or for example, our truss object that you can see that we have here our trusses, and these trusses, they update the information manually and they add automatically trusses. And for example, if you have to move some truss, you can move like this way you have additional truss, and automatically you will get more trusses. Like for example, here you have a fan or you have a diffuser or something else in this case, but you have to keep your distance like 16 inches between trusses. This way you can move your trusses only this way and automatically this way, and here you have 15 trusses. It was my development and so on. Maybe you will need something like that, and I'll be happy to help you, but it's not a very common task. For the common task, it's to Archicad, because yes, you have your walls, you have your slabs, they will work, but for special tasks, for special jobs, you'll have to tailor that, unfortunately. And it's okay, it's correct. It's like you have inside your Archicad out of the box your template, but as a BIM manager, I can tell you this template is just an example. No one, not any normal design firm will use this template, because it just shows you what can you do, but you need your own template. You need your own developments, and this template will never be finished. You will have maximum your template 95% done, but every time will come something new and new and new and new.
It's a work in progress. The template is a suggestion.
Yes.
I'm just scouting to see if there's any more questions. If anyone's got anything, feel free to pop it onto the Q&A or the chat right now. But again, you've got my email, you've got Petri's email. Alex kindly shared his details there as well. So if there's anything that comes up, I realize it's been a very information-heavy pack session today. It's been a real pleasure, Alex. I appreciate you sharing. And I think it was really nice to sort of delve into this data architecture, information management side, which is very important. And I think we should do more of this as well in future. So yeah, if that's it, we can end it here, and obviously continue the conversations offline as well. Alex, did you want to say anything final?
I hope that this information, especially the last part that I showed you here, it didn't blow up your mind, it didn't explode your mind, because I can tell you that even my team members, sometimes they cannot understand what happens and how exactly these properties work. I just have to connect to another teamwork project and just to check and to understand. And yes, I know that's complex before you start to use that, but when you understand how these properties work, it's very easy. It's very primitive. It looks really it can scare you. You can afraid of that, but if you will start work on this, it's not very difficult. You will see your way. And
it'll make life a lot easier as well.
Yeah, just a last maybe important moment. Just, I have to tell you truth. I'm a very, very lazy man. I'm very lazy. I don't want to draw something 20 times, 25 times. I don't want to check any element ID or update these element IDs manually if something has been changed. That's why for me it's much better to spend a few days, maybe a few weekends, some free time just to create another library part or to set other properties, but to make my computer working for me. Because again, let's be lazy. Let's make your computers working. You have much more important tasks than to update manually and keep your eye on every ID. This should be done automatically.
I think that's a great comment to end on. Let the computers do that. But thank you very much for coming. It was great to see so many of you here. And yeah, do email us if you've got any questions. Thanks again, Alex, and have a good rest of the day, everyone.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Take care. See you.